I got to live up those 2 decades. Like for me, the 80s was wild, and then the 90s was fun. And then looking at my children grow up now, I think like it's kind of boring. You know, the childhood that they're going through now compared to when we were, yeah. What happened?
You said you got the 80s. Like I was born in the 80s, but I don't remember the 80s.
Well, I mean, I was born in 85, but pretty much I remember 1990 and up.
Yeah, I could remember the mid 80s, all the rock bands and the crazy hairstyles, and then everybody was smoking everywhere. Like, you know, people be smoking inside and outside the house. Well, inside the house they wouldn't smoke because my grandma was there, but we had like 3 different garages at the back that, you know, we had family members staying in, and they'd be all just smoking around. No one really knew about secondhand smoking. So at the time, you know, for a lot of people, they thought that smoking was a cool thing to do, and it was just like a trend at the time. So everybody was smoking that. But I definitely enjoyed the 90s more than the 80s. Just things that we could do back then. You can't, like, we had so much more freedom, and we did a lot more with less. And everything my children have now, like my boys, they have like a 70-inch TV in their room. They both. Hey guys, I'm trying to do a podcast here, okay?
Dave, are you considered Gen X or a millennial? 1979 is the cutoff for, or 76 is the cutoff for Gen X. And then after, I think after the 80, that's
No, I'm not Gen X.
Donnie, can you search when's the cutoff?
When is the cutoff, Donnie? 1980?
Yeah, so if you were born after 1980, you're a millennial. If you were born prior to 1980, you're Gen X.
Oh, wow, I'm Gen X then. Yeah, I'm Gen X. Wow. I feel lucky to have gone through the 80s and 90s. Blessed to be still around today and see my children grow up. But I definitely, like, looking back in the 80s, there was a lot of pros and cons compared to now. What are some of your guys' early memories about the 90s? Since I'm the only real old one back here that goes through the 80s as well.
Well, I remember I think it was 1989. My mom married my stepdad, so we moved to Connecticut. And I was telling Dave a story earlier, like I lived in a Puerto Rican area, and like, well, there was a lot of drama. But even at 6 years old, I remember 6 years old, it'd be 8 o'clock at night, and I was dumpster diving, and I found this boom box, and I had it for like 5 years, dude. You know, but that was the 90s. You can get away with that.
I can't remember anything from 80 or something like that. Like, I was born in 84, but even the night, I think I remember moving to our new house. It was 1993. My sister was born, so 94 we moved into our new house. But I can't remember like much from that. I just from 96, I remember like that's when I started like to listen to like Tupac.
Oh yeah,
and that's the year that, like, you know, he died.
Was it like Tupac, Biggie, and Nas during that era?
Yeah.
No, a little later, I think Nas was.
Oh, okay. My question is, Seth, did your mom ever ask you where you got the boombox from?
Oh yeah, she didn't care. Yeah.
That was like us. It was like, where'd you find it? I found it on the road. Okay. We always had this thing called finders keepers. Like when we pick it up and go, "Hey, who owns this? Is this anyone's?" Okay, mine did.
Well, I mean, I lived in a couple different areas, so I don't know if you ever heard of Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut. Sometimes they have boxing fights there. So I lived in 2 areas. One in New London, Foxwoods. I lived by Foxwoods, and yeah, it was the same thing. I was just like you said, the 90s was different. Like I was a 6, 7-year-old kid, and I was just looking at the park trying to play ball with grown men. You know, and they were like, "Kid, we're not gonna let you play." You know.
That sounds like you to this day.
Yeah. So that was like the early 90s to me. The later 90s, you know, so we moved to Long Beach where my grandma lived. 90s to me was different then, you know, because going from the East Coast to the West Coast, that's obviously different. So I got to see a little bit of both, I guess.
Is it a big difference from East Coast to West Coast?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the attitudes, the temperament. I mean, you want to go to Pizza Hut, like Dave was saying, everyone's smoking cigarettes. You're just trying to eat a pepperoni pizza as a little kid, and everyone's, you know what I mean?
Hey, a cigarette in one hand and a beer in the other.
So that was the 90s to me. I mean, but also good sports. I mean, like when I moved to the West Coast as a kid, I mean, first basketball game I went to was the Lakers with Shaq, Kobe. I got to see Tim Duncan play. So the 90s to me, you know, as a kid, I loved it. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
I feel like both of you guys are much into sports. I was the complete like loser during that time. All I cared about was video games, cartoons, and eating. That's all I did.
X-Men was great. I loved X-Men.
Oh, X-Men was great. I think there was one before that. Was it He-Man? And then there was X-Men and
See,
Teenage.
I didn't catch the He-Man era.
Yeah, I think it was maybe late 80s to early 90s. The He-Man era, and then we had Batman as well. And then from that
made a show.
Yeah, there was this other Batman one that was a program, and it was like the lamest program, but at the time we thought, oh, well, this is the best show ever. And then it was a guy that wore like a gray suit, and then and when he punched people, it would go pow, and he throw people.
You talking about that? I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about. You know, they made a movie. Yeah, it's just I actually saw it on I think it was on Tubi. And it's what you expect it to be for that era.
And that's the thing. You used to watch programs back in those days, and then you thought, oh, man, it's classic. And then you go back and watch it again, rewatch it, and it's garbage.
Oh, it's garbage.
And you're thinking, like, how did I even, like, you know, like tune into this every night?
All right, I'm gonna put the scenario here. You guys remember the Power Rangers?
Oh, I used to watch that every day after school, and they would do reruns, and I would watch the reruns as well.
Yeah, but like we're talking about rewatching it. I went back to rewatch it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really, really bad. Like the quality and everything.
You can't do it.
As a kid, that is the greatest thing ever.
Now, what about early 90s? You're talking about, well, late 80s too. Voltron, Thundercats, G.I. Joe.
I remember Voltron, Thundercats, but that was like late 80s. I didn't catch that. I think the cartoons that I remember was the Tick. It was whatever was on the local Fox 11 Kids.
Well, Animaniacs.
Animaniacs was Warner Brothers. That was in the afternoon.
Quick question. So, okay, we all grew up in different countries. You guys grew up in America. I grew up in New Zealand. So, our TV was for free. We didn't have to have cable. Did you guys have to have cable to watch all those shows, or?
Like if you were watching the Rugrats on regular TV, then yeah, we had to pay because Rugrats was a Nickelodeon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, everything was for free.
Now, actually, you want to hear a funny story? So, this is how I got in I already love sports, but my uncle worked at Circuit City back in the day, and he got my grandma the black box. So I used to go over her house, and I used to watch sports from all over the world. I used to watch Australian rugby. I got every football game for free. It didn't matter.
You must have felt like you were in heaven.
Oh, I was the king.
Speaking of 90s, R.I.P. Circuit City.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not going to know what Circuit City is.
Yes,
Circuit City was like Best Buy.
Circuit City.
Oh, so that was like the Best Buy?
So before different the online shopping, there was a Best Buy in Circuit City, and people kind of chose sides. From what I was told, Circuit City was a little bit more expensive, but you got help. Like the people there will help you out. They're like, hey, what do you need? Best Buy was kind of like a free-for-all, but they had the more cool stuff. Circuit City was red, and Best Buy was blue.
I wonder why. So I got to Donnie to pull up just a little bit of video clips from some ads on the 90s for us to look through.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you wanted to play?
Liza.
Oh man, the VHS.
More than 200 animators and programmers.
Look at the graphics.
$multi-million production. Over 2 years.
Oh, that's Final Fantasy VII. That was my whole childhood there.
Of thousands.
What about Duke Nukem? Remember that?
They said
I do remember Duke Nukem.
in a major motion picture. They
Seeing this, I'm playing the remake of it now, like almost 20 years later. It's insane. I don't remember this one. Oh, Mentos, of course.
He forgot his keys. See, they were definitely more creative back in those days.
No, they were definitely drinking at that commercial.
Grandpa was just about to light a cigarette up.
Sorry, Rosie.
Oh, the Jetsons.
Store at Radio Shack, George. They have Sprint's easy-to-use products.
And the know-how of Radio Shack.
They even showed Astro how to use his mobile phone.
The Sprint stuff was that that was Radio Shack.
Oh, Rhonda. The new
I got my first cell phone from there.
Radio Shack. You've got
Wow.
questions, you've got answers.
Look at that, dude.
The mysterious milk bandit struck again last night. Several more local area Big Fizz vending.
I remember seeing these cows. I don't remember what it was.
Replaced with coolers of ice.
Wasn't Jolt Cola, was it?
As in earlier incidents, the coolers bear the now infamous slogan, "Milk, it
No, it's
does
milk.
your body
Yeah.
good." No witnesses were reported.
Oh, that was a slogan. Milk, it does the body good. I do remember
You
that.
can be as clever as Kevin.
Stop drooling on me. Stop
I gotta,
drooling on
dude.
me.
You wanna hear a story, Dave?
Talk Boy
Freaking.
tape recorder comes with
When
audio
that
cassette.
Talk Boy came out, I told my mom, I said, all my friends are getting Playboys. I want one too. And she's like, your friends aren't getting Playboys. I said, yeah, they freaking are, Mom. You better get me one. And she's like, I'm not getting one. And then it turned out that they were called Talk Boys a week later.
Daddy, can we play the other one? The other one, I think there was one about music as well.
Paul Abdul.
I used to sing along to this song all the
I don't
time,
remember Paul Abdul. Like,
only because my aunties used to have a radio.
Sinead O'Connor, she passed away.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Legend.
I still listen to Madonna.
I don't know. She was,
I remember
I only
all
listened
these.
to one song.
I remember all those love songs, and I used to know the words because my aunties had a radio, and they used to listen to the station called Love Songs to Midnight. And then they used to listen to it in the living room, and I always used to hang around.
MC Hammer, legend.
Yep. Hey, did you guys ever wear baggy pants?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, of course.
CNC.
That's what